What are the best hi-fi speakers of the year? Well, we'll find out after a message from our sponsor, MPB.
The power to tell a story is in us all. The power to change the way we feel, our understanding. Change the rules, how we see ourselves. Provoke. Change history. Together, let's change the bigger picture. Change access. Put camera gear in more hands. And keep the story going. Buy, sell, and trade used camera gear. MPB.
Thanks to MPB for sponsoring the podcast. And joining me is hi-fi editor Ed Selley. Ed, let's talk about hi-fi speakers.
Yes. We split this one 4 ways. And I'm going to apologise in advance because our best affordable speaker crept in £1, one whole pound below £1,000, which is the cutoff between affordable and then mid-range. And you can legitimately say that's, a bit cheating a bit, but my argument is that the Wharfedale Super Denton does things that nothing else under £1,000 can do. Wharfedale essentially took their Denton 85 model and they've made it fractionally bigger, and they've used that extra size to cram in a third driver. And a compact 3-way is so unusual. There are good reasons why a lot of speaker manufacturers believe that there's no place for such a thing. Listen to the Super Denton, especially if you listen to it with its mid-range tweeters outboard, so they're towards the outer edge. There's no other box that size that sounds as big and as spacious. It really is genuinely impressive. Unlike most other heritage products, this isn't something you really do need to look. If you're not a big fan of heritage, you need to look past the looks on this, because it does things that nothing else at the price gets near. And yes, it looks a bit, pipe and slippers, but that's Wharfedale's decision, and it's selling like these speakers are selling like the Blazers, so they're clearly doing something right. It really is a very worthy award winner, and very much one where there wasn't really any sort of concerns on my part giving it to it. In terms of best mid-range speaker, another retro product, not quite as retro as the Wharfedale, but Neat's Mystique, which is, if you like, an adapted floor standing version of a former product of the year in the Petite Classic. I should say this is a Mystique Classic as well. This is just viceless. So long as you have enough power to drive it, because it's not the most sensitive loudspeaker ever made, it does everything right. It takes up very little space. It's arguably better value than the Petite Classic, because obviously, as it's a floor stander, it doesn't even need a stand. So the extra price over the Petite Classic is pretty much saved in that regard. It's one of the most enjoyable products I've spent time with all year across all of the categories. Endless fun to listen to, beautifully made, beautifully finished. Despite being a retro design, it doesn't look desperately retro. It will sit in most living spaces without people thinking that you are trying to be retro. And it will work in a huge variety of contexts. It was a very easy award to give. Next up was a speaker that was so good it distorted the categories around it. The Focal Aria X Evo number 3, I should say. That came in at £3,500, just after two £7,000 floor standers, and it ran them so close that essentially, even, I need to be clear, the speakers I'm referring to, the Acoustic Energy Corinium and the Bose & Wilkins 702 signature, S2 signature, they are better than the Focal, but they are twice the price. And you need to decide how much £3,500 means to you, because the Focal runs them exceptionally close, and not only in sound terms, it looks and feels and is finished at a standard that runs them close as well. I thought it was going to be good. I genuinely didn't expect it to be as good as it turned out to be. So no, it just absolutely nailed that category. It's a very worthy award winner. There's nothing under £5,000 really that I would have chosen ahead of that in that particular category. And because it's so good, it meant that our high-end speaker, we pushed right up. So it's the Bose & Wilkins 805 D4 signature. One of them, so the most expensive stand mount we've ever tested, one of the most expensive speakers we've ever tested. But spend a bit of time with them and you really can see where the money has gone. It's just a flawless piece of engineering. And what's more, in much the same way as its non-signature version, brother. All of that engineering is flawless. It's easy to admire, but now it's a lot easier to love. The speaker is tremendously good fun at the same time as being extremely talented and extremely revealing, and a truly sublime piece of equipment to use and live with. There was very little sort of hesitation on my part giving that one the award. It's worth pointing out that across those 4 designs, so 2 floor standers, 2 stand mounts, but as different as you can get in terms of driver technology, in terms of whether they're trying to be retro or forward looking. There's a huge amount going on in speaker design at the moment. And what's really exciting is that you can choose something that fits your requirements exactly, rather than having to adapt to fit a market trend. There are enough things going on that the perfect speaker for you is out there. Those 4 award winners are where I'd start looking, but don't forget to look through all of the other speaker reviews. I mean, this applies to all of these videos. Unlike a number of other categories on AVForums, I select new award winners every year. Because hi-fi products are around for a very long time. I just don't like the idea of crowning one over and over again. So, just the strength in depth across the last couple of years, it's formidable. And there's just some tremendous products out there, and there will be something that's right for you.
And it's one of those categories, Ed, that really people need to be spending time looking at and looking what will fit their room, first of all, and then the system and what they're trying to achieve. Because if you get it right, and you're very clever with your choice, and you take your time to pick the speaker that's going to work best for you, you don't need to upgrade it again.
No.
That's one part of your hi-fi system. If you nail it first time and you build your system around that, it's one component you should never have to change again, Ed.
No, absolutely not. And this is where some of the previous videos that we've done, where we discuss the importance of dealers and what you should be looking for, please revisit those. We've got some good stuff in there. Yeah, you can buy something sight unseen online. Please don't. If you want it to actually do what you want it to do, take our reviews as a start point, but for goodness sake, go and get a listen. And ideally, if it's once the price climbs beyond a certain point, try and get a listen in the space that they're going to be parked in, because it matters, absolutely matters.